To get started with, let's fix this retweet issue where we have no content showing for retweets. So inside our application, let's head into tweet.blade.php and let's take a look at what is going on in here. So if we say tweet content with links, we're still getting nothing in here being shown. And as you can see, again, there is nothing still of text wise. So if we just go ahead instead and say print our tweet original tweet, or even just actually died on it. So in this case, for retweet here, the original tweet ID is not going to it, which is the issue here. So if we go ahead in here, you can see this is still a retweet. So what we probably ended up doing is we retweeted a retweet, which is causing this error. So we essentially ended up getting a retweet in here. So there's a few things we can do to prevent this. First and foremost, we can go ahead and make sure that we have a fail-safe here for this. So if we go in and revert this here. So if this is here, we want to go ahead and get the original tweet content with links. Obviously, this won't solve the entire problem because we're still ending up with the issue where we can get nothing in there because it could go on and be even further nested in there. As you can see, this probably won't solve much. But what we actually want to go ahead and do is inside our retweet action. So when we're doing a retweet in here, we want to make sure that we are always retweeting the original tweet. So in this case, if we go ahead and retweet this tweet, let's see what happens. So I'm gonna retweet this retweet, which we know is a retweet. And we're getting the retweet in here. So what we want to go ahead and do in here is we want to always go and get the original tweet. Now for this one, it will cause an issue, but if we go back to this one, it's now always going to get the original tweet. So we could go ahead now and essentially just delete the new retweet we have here. Given we have so many, I think I'm just going to let that one slide, but we can essentially go ahead and make sure that we are always going ahead to this tweet, original tweet. And then if we go ahead now and try to retweet a retweeted tweet, you can see that it works. Perfect. So we could go ahead and get rid of it, but we will just have to find the user value in here, which is user ID number 5. And that's just this one. Alright, so now if I go ahead and retweet a retweeted one again, it still works. Although we have an issue now here with the button here, where we need to make sure that we can essentially go ahead and revert the retweet, because right now it's confusing the system. So I'm gonna go ahead and clear the database again and make sure we only have 0 tweets. Gonna just write hello. Gonna retweet this one. And we essentially want to have a condition in here now saying if this tweet has got, in this case, an original tweet ID. So if we go in here, we have the original tweet ID. In that case, we want to set tweet to be like this. And otherwise, by default, we just want tweet to be set to this tweet. And we need to get rid of that double equate there. So if we go in now, let's see what happens. And real time we don't have to bother with for now. That's just because of not being set up, but we can always go ahead and set that up. So just see if we can undo the retweet. And currently that doesn't work now. And now we have 3 of them. So again, let's go ahead and delete these 2. But for the undoing of retweet, we can go ahead and fix that. So let's retweet again and fix that. So in here, let's tie them on this tweet. And let's see what happens when we click undo retweet. So currently we are going to basically do it on the original tweet here. And that's kind of the issue, because we are calling this action on the wrong tweet. It should be showing on the retweet as well, but we should only show this button on the retweet button. Or we could actually show them on both, but the key thing is we want to be able to undo the retweet as well. So that's the thing. We don't want to be able to have these duplicate ones here. So we need to go in here, and then we can essentially see if this user has retweeted it. So let's go ahead and check that. And now we got the retweet. Perfect. So for this one here, we want to have a similar thing up here, but where we check if. So if in this case we already have a retweet of the original tweet, in this case, this is going to actually be inside the original tweet, because that's if it exists. We want to have where the tweet and I think we want to move this one above as well. So let's just do this like that. So if tweets, retweets, user IDs in case original tweet here, if that exists, we just want to return, because in that case we know that the original tweet has been retweeted by that user. So if I was going to go ahead now and retweet it, nothing happens, because this has already been retweeted. So that's the first thing we want to go ahead and do for fixing this. The other thing we need to go ahead and make sure of inside our tweet model, we can essentially create a new trait for the retweets here. So let's go into a tweet model again, open up here, and where we have inside our models traits, let's create a retweet, has retweets, and again we just need to have a trait in here. We can use the same namespace as follows, because this is the same folder. Let's then go into tweet model here. Let's get the original tweet, the retweets function here as well, and add them in. And let's also make sure we call this has retweets instead. And then we can go up here and say use has retweets. And now we can start working on fixing these issues in here, such as adding in retweet functionality, like checking if someone has retweeted already, so we can essentially, instead of having too many checks inside our model, we can just have some things such as public function has user retweeted tweet, and then we can put the user in here and we can check that, for example. So that's what we're going to be working on as well in the next video, and we're going to essentially fix all these issues surrounding the retweet functionality, making sure that it works properly instead of having to have too many functions and clutter up our retweet action and our retweet action blade component. But thank you very much for watching this video. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.